We are less than a month until the NFL draft. John Schmeelk, Paul Dottino. It's time to look at the mock drafts on the internet. It's all brought to you by Crestron. Paulie, another mock draft. This one, 4 rounds. So we have some new names in here from Chad Ryder over at NFL.com. The first round pick at 6th overall should not be that surprising. It's a name we've mentioned a lot before. Malik Neighbors out of LSU. Last year, 89 catches, 1,569 receiving yards, 14 receiving touchdowns. Since we last spoke about him, they did have the LSU Pro Day. These are unofficial numbers. These are simply what scouts tell reporters they got, and then they re-report those numbers. But a 4.35 40-yard dash. Neighbors claims on Twitter it was a 4.28, and a 42-inch vertical leap checked in at 6 foot and 200 pounds. So pretty good.
Yeah, lightning fast, averaged over 17 yards a catch last season. You know what's interesting to me, John, is how he really exploded during his last year at LSU, because prior to that, 100 career receptions going into last season with only 7 career touchdown grabs and only averaged 14-plus yards a catch. And then last year put up all-world numbers. Now, I'm not saying that you should just ignore that, but it is interesting how his progression really took off in his last season at LSU.
I think improved quarterback play has a lot to do with that.
I don't think there's anything.
Daniels getting better.
No doubt about that.
Neighbors helps Daniels. Daniels helps Neighbors, and both guys are going to be
And
top
Thomas is there,
10
too.
Picks. And yes, Brian Thomas Jr. will be probably a top 25 pick, or at least first-round pick in this year's draft. Go to round number 2, and and by the way, you can find Chad Ryder, my interview with him, on the Giants Huddle podcast. We talk about this mock and other stuff as well. Check that out. Have the Giants selecting Blake Corum, national champion out of the University of Michigan. 5'8", 205, Paul, ran a 4.5, 340. Doesn't have good long speed, but boy, his balance and side-to-side quickness and shiftiness is special.
Yeah, very sturdy for his size is how I like to call him. A little bit like a fire hydrant, right? And man, he is smart. He's got vision, patience, toughness. What would you expect from a hardball back out of Michigan, to be honest with you?
And productive. 1,400 yards 2 years ago, 1,200 yards this year.
He's going to be in that cluster, John. That cluster we've been talking about since the Combine, probably 3rd and 4th round. There's going to be a whole cluster of those guys.
He'll be in that group of 8 to 10 running backs that'll get picked in that area. That maybe not full-time 20 per carry, 20 carries per game starters, but they'll have a role in offenses early
47
in their career.
may be a tad high, but once those clusters start to go, they're going to go.
They'll go fast, correct. All right, let's go to round number 3, where Chad had Tyler Nubin, who a lot of people think might be the first safety off the board in round 2, dropping to the Giants in round 3. Out of Minnesota, 6 foot, 200 pounds, did not work out at the Combine. 13 career interceptions.
Interesting with him. He's either a Tampa 2 or a single high safety. Very instinctive. He's a ball hawk. And you know what? If you know anything about Bowen's new defensive coordinator here and what he's going to run, this guy fits. And by the way, a 5th-year player, John, at 6'2", 200 pounds. There's a lot that kind of merges here.
He's played a lot of football experience, very good instincts, and he can do a lot of different things. Final player, 4th round, Chris Abrams-Drain, Paul, a 5'11", 180-pound corner, ran a 4.44 at the Combine, was good at the Senior Bowl, played outside in college, but at that size, you might have to be a slot in the NFL.
He's a little bit slight in terms of his frame. And, in a way, you think about Cordell Flott, too, right? Who was a little smaller, a little bit slight in the frame, but I think that his skills play better outside than inside. You might be able to say the same thing about Abrams-Drain.
Yep.
And so we'll see.
Good athlete. And the Giants need fill a lot of needs with those 4 picks from Chad Ryder. Thanks for joining us. It's all brought to you by Crestron. Stay tuned to Giants.com, the Giants mobile app, and all Giants social media platforms and YouTube channel as we continue to cover the NFL Draft.